begin. Metal Illusionist is doing what? You could set a Metalmorph trap from your deck? Okay. We're going to finger that Veiler. So the Veiler was apparently good enough to be fingering as we then add another Veiler into the fray. Negate. The Illusionist, you will not be setting up against me your max Metalmorph nonsense. I wanted to see you set it up. Damn. What the hell is that? We do have Ash Blossom to negate the wishes, though. We have Metal Flame Swordsman grabbing a Zoa. Zoa summoning itself onto the field, activating to set the Metalmorph, a different Metalmorph. We have Flame Coating Metalmorph instead of the Max Metalmorph, plus a Super Polymerization. I don't know if we have any forms of disruption here. Tribute, and then we're going to summon from the deck. Wait, this is summoning a negate, right? Yes. Full Metal Dragon can negate anything. And if the equipped monster would be destroyed, you could send this card to the graveyard instead. So it's got destruction protection and a negate, plus the Ash Blossom negate, which is competing with the Super Polymerization. I don't know if we have another way to get a card in our hand to activate Super Poly and the Ash within the same turn. So we have two good disruptions against two plays. We got Barrel, we have Wishes. Those are our main two plays with our two negates. Let's make sure we use them correctly. Let's go. Wishes, easy, Ash. Easy, negate, mate. Negate the Wishes. And then the Max Metalmorph Red Eyes, I think, destroys the monster it negates, right? If we negate, where's the negate? Wait, I don't think it destroys it, actually. It stays on the field. So if there was a follow-up Sage in hand, that would be a big problem. But thankfully, there isn't. We have Roar summoning from the deck here. Come forth, Blue Eyes White Dragon. With our Blue Eyes, we can at least go into our Fusion Summon play to wipe away the field. Let's get to it. We have Tyrant. Tyrant is swinging into every single body on the field, but the Red Eyes Full Metal would be protected from being destroyed due to the coat flaming in the back row. We don't want to be swinging in just for no reason. We have the Mausoleum, which could have boosted us up within main phase 1 to be bigger than the Full Metal. But again, it would have not been destroyed by battle. We have the Spirit with the Eyes of Blue come to us. Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. We can now make a Hieratic Seal if we wanted to, but the Red Eyes Full Metal can negate every single turn. Off the top of the deck, a card we could discard to fuse away with their field. Let's get to it. Into what? Wait, what? You're playing a Tyrant Dragon yourself? Is this like putting in the U-Bell fusion to counter them with Super Poly? What the? Okay. Now, it's shocking to see this be put in the extra deck because you could have still fused with the field without this being in the extra deck. You could just go into one of, usually Mood Dragon and the Garura is enough to cover all your bases here. But this actually gave us lethal. Let's see what's good. Max C at the start of the turn. We're going to Piri Reese map, search our deck for a Sage. Sage is here, searching our deck for the Maiden. Now, what's great about Blue Eyes is even when the deck gets Max Seed or Full Loss, it still sets up a decent amount of disruptions. We're giving them one draw here with the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, searching for the Mausoleum. True Light is going to set up into the back row our Majesty. We're not going to play into that Ash Blossom negating of Wishes. We're going to attempt to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the graveyard as the Ash Blossom negates. Now, if we were actually committing to this play, that would be upwards of 3 special summons? Well, now it also does turn on the Majesty, so we ensure that the Majesty stays turned off. It's now not a form of disruption, which now thinking about it, it was a really bad sequencing of plays to set up Majesty, then activate Mausoleum, unless we purposely wanted to bait them to use Ash and then follow up with the Wishes from the hand, which would have been a massive Gigabrain play. Now instead, the Majesty's dead, no use for it. We have Droll, we have Dominus Purge, and that's it. Plus the Maxi. Maxi's not a form of disruption, though. Metal Flame Swordsman, you're attempting to search the deck. Now, Purge is not activatable from the hand here, but since we set it, we can negate. We now have just the Drone Lockbird. We are going to call by the grave, finger the Maxi, negate. So with just Droll, is that going to be good enough to stop Max Metalmorph? But I've noticed a common theme with rogue decks is a lot of them fold to a Droll Lockbird. Is that going to be the case here, though? As the Requiem summons to the deck, our Engraver. With the Engraver on field, we're going to equip with the Requiem. We can now send both to the graveyard to summon our Necro-equipped Princess. We're going to be returning back the Requiem to reborn our Engraver. And from here, we can get fusion summoning with our sequence. Sequence fusing with the graveyard, returning 2 cards to the Duke of Demise for an additional normal summon. But we don't have anything that we want to additionally normal summon. We're going to take out the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, poke for 1200 directly, and did not additionally summon. That's interesting. We now have the Little Knight on summon, banish away the True Light. Now, Blue Eyes has no way to gain access to a banished True Light. It's gone. It's over for the True Light. We now have the Duke of Demise, targeting the Engraver to return it from Engrave back to our hand. We have Engraver searching for our Tract. Now, the Lurie, which we opened up with, was returned back in the deck. We have Droll and Lockbird stopping the use of the Fiendsmith Tract to add the Lurie, as we now summon our Red Eyes Metal Claws Dragon. Does this even do anything during the opponent's turn? It does not. We just have Little Knight Disruption. Wishes for Eyes of Blue, discard the Piri-Reis map, searching for the Sage plus a Roar. We have the Mausoleum effect, allowing us to additionally summon the Sage, searching for an Effect Veiler. As we roar from the deck here, a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and trigger the Engrave Maiden. Come forth. We're going to use Little Knight to target and banish away the Blue Eyes, which, if we have... Ooh, that stops it completely. No banish for you. What I was going to say is that True Light stops you from even targeting the Blue Eyes, which, of course, is not on the field here. By using Ogre to stop the Little Knight, wipe it away, just like that, no banish. Now, not only is Ogre really good against True Light, I want you to think about 3 other cards that the Ogre is potentially good against. I'll even give you 4 cards. You can use the Ogre against a Masquerena activating to wipe it off the field. You could use the Ogre against the Little Knight. You could use the Ogre against a Desiree. That's right, Desiree does not negate if you Ogre it. Now, it's going to get the secondary effect of sending a card from the field to the graveyard. That is a problem, but at least it stops the negate. And then an Apollo USA summoned without a Masquerena, that is another good use of Ogre, which will stop her negate, just like that. She's not going to be able to negate the Ogre if she's negating something else, which you then use the Ogre in response to. So Ogre is in a pretty good spot, I think. We have Mausoleum targeting the Maiden, which you ideally want to Chainlink block with any card effect whatsoever. It does not matter. You could chain a Max Seed to it, and then it would stop the Maiden from reborning the Blue Eyes White Dragon from Engrave. Ogre smash it up. We have Wishes, equipping onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon a fusion and turn this into a Tyrant Dragon. And this is where the use of Purge goes up in value. By using an early Purge against the opponent, you then get to have the follow-up Tyrant Dragon recycle the Purge. So if you have a hand of Veiler and Impermanence, really think about just using Imperm over the Veiler so that your Tyrant Dragon can recycle the Imperm on the very next turn. Veiler also, in rare circumstances, can be used to make plays, as you can additionally summon it with the Mausoleum to help make a level 9 Synchro. As we go into a Crimson Dragon targeting the level 12, as we go into the Sifra Divine protecting our Ultimate Spirit from being destroyed. We have a lot of play. This can't be played through. This Veiler negate, Purge negate, Majesty pop, Ultimate negate, Sifra negate. We have 5 disruptions made. Monster, search, pop, negate anything on field, negate any monster effect no matter where it is, then destroy a card in the field. Holy moly. Just when do we use it all? We're going to Purge negates the search from your hand effect there. If we have a Trap Engrave, it would destroy it. We do not, so it stays in your hand. We have 4 more forms of disruption. Requiem can be negated by the Ultimate. That would be a pretty good negate. He's going to use the Sifra Divine instead, because the Ultimate can negate spell and trap cards where the Sifra Divine cannot. The reason why I said the Ultimate could be a good negate here is because it does not destroy the monster it negates. Thus, ideally, the monster's tributing itself, or they're activating a spell or trap card that you're negating, so where otherwise you negate a regular monster effect that stays in the field. 1 in 1. Let's go. And we're going to activate it the turn it was set, just like that, going into the Full Metal Red Eyes with a negate. Now, it has an additional protection. Not only is it boosted in attack, it also cannot be destroyed by spell or monster effects. Now, unfortunately, Majesty is what wants to destroy it, which it does not have protection from. Your opponent also cannot target it with monster effects or spell cards. Again, Imperm wants to target it and Majesty wants to destroy it. Does not have protection from either unless you'd want to negate it, which ideally you don't. Now, beyond that, we have Super Poly to fuse away the field. We have Hermetic Seal to spin back a card back to the hand. We have the Full Metal Red Eyes to negate anything. Triple Disruption. Oh, boy. Wishes to eat up the negate, mate, just like that. Negate. Now, we're going to have to follow up with Maiden, setting up with the True Light. Main it up with Maiden Engrave. We now can activate Roar to trigger the Maiden Engrave to Reborn. Come forth, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Activate Maiden, Reborn. We're now going to be using Hermetic Seal to non-target spin a card back. We don't know what's being spun back. Could it be the Blue Eyes, the True Light? It's a non-target spin, so the True Light does not protect it. We have the Hermetic Seal triggering to summon from the deck a Red Eyes Metal Claw, searching for a Max Metalmorph from the deck. And we have True Lights, special summoning Blue Eyes back onto the field. We just have Super Poly left as our last form of disruption. We're going to fuse into a Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, which could recycle the Engrave Max Metalmorph. We're going to Mausoleum target the Maiden, which, again, Reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon back. You didn't have a Chain Link block, mate. And we did get kind of greedy by not fusing the Maiden and the Blue Eyes White Dragon together, as the Wishes will now be banishing to turn the Blue Eyes White Dragon into a Tyrant Dragon with no trap engrave, unfortunately, or we're just going straight into a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. We're going to Magna Hut banish away the Neo Ultimate Blue Eyes, which was protecting it from being targeted by card effects. We're pinned down. We're pinned. We got the full metal Red Eyes on top of our Spirit Dragon, stopping it from making any plays because it will simply just negate. What do we do, mate? We're going to banish away the Magna Hut, summon the Red Eyes Darkness Metal. I cannot believe it. We have Joey Wheeler defeating Kaiba right here, right now. With over 12,000 damage on the field, we are going to negate the effect of the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, mate. We're going to chain the True Light. It's not over yet. As we reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon, trigger the Maiden Engrave to further reborn herself onto the field. Now, this is where you'd want to check the grave for any valid monster that Maiden could special summon. Well, there's nothing it can special summon. Now, what the heck was that? The Full Metal states that after you negate a card effect, you could then inflict damage to your opponent equal to the original attack of one monster the opponent controls, inflicting 3,000 damage. Take out that Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now the Maiden can reborn the Blue Eyes, but the Tyrant can attack as many times as we want, so this was not actually a mistake. It did not matter. We have additional attack onto that Blue Eyes, didn't even phase us as we sent the Max Metamorph from Engrave, wiping out the Blue Eyes White Dragon. We have Red Eyes Darkness Metal attacking, and then Full Metal Claws for game. Red Eyes defeating Blue Eyes. You saw it here. Let's go. Nicely done. All right. Where was your Primite engine, mate? Where's the Primite at? Albion the Shrouded, send from the deck a Retribution, grab Serenir here, and, you know, branded it with being a 6-card deck, it can brick, believe it or not. We have Ash Blossom negating the Max C, and then all we're left with is a Serenir. Probably not going to be enough here. Let's speed this up. We have Tract adding a Lurie reborning itself onto the field here, as we then go into Requiem, as we then go into the Scoop phase. Nicely done. Let's hop into game number 2. Begin. When's Ryzeal coming? Well, do you want Ryzeal or Malice? We're going to banish the Tragedy. Tragedy triggering, searching our deck for the Guiding Quem. Guiding. We have Drone Lockbird hitting us here, where we can no longer add cards from the deck to our hand, but we're going to chain a quick effect in response to not being able to add from the deck by revealing the Magna Hut, sending the Titanclad to then add our final card, Albion. We're going to Quem on summon, send from the deck to the graveyard, Imperm, negate as we attempt to send an Albaz monster from the deck. Not today. Now, can we further play under Droll and through an Impermanence? We have Albion sending the Retribution to the graveyard to special summon itself onto the field to go into an Anaconda. Anaconda is here. Send from the deck a Branded Fusion here to fuse it up into a Sanctifier Dragon. We have Retribution recycling the Engrave Branded in High Spirits. It's worth noting that this is our last special summon. Now, what are our forms of disruption? We have Sanctifier, which could summon an Albaz onto our field, which could then fuse with the opposing side of the field. And that's pretty much going to probably be one of our only forms of disrupt. The Sanctifier cannot be targeted by card effects. We could save the Sanctifier to be a duo disrupt if we save it to steal a card from the opponent's graveyard. Let's say the Engraver wants to summon, then you summon it for them. I don't know about that, though. All right, we're going to grab a Tract. You can, instead of Lurie summon, you summon it for them. Yeah? Lurie activate. Wait, we're not actually doing that, are we? Lurie activated to special summon. And we said, no, I'm going to special summon it for you. Okay. Albaz, come forth. Lurie doing exactly what it was already doing. Albaz on summon, discard the branded sword. Fuse away with that Lurie, as this is all under Max C. We're going to fuse away with the Anaconda and the Albaz Albion Engrave. For our Mirror Jade, we have non-target monster banish. So we now have a second form of disruption on top of our first one. Getting ready with the non-target monster banish. We're now going to add a Fualos into this as we reborn the Quem. Quem's going to send from the decks of the grave a Cartesia. We have the Engraver reborning itself. When are we whipping out the Mirror Jade non-target banish? We're going to wait. We have Requiem Mate. Requiem is being someone's going to trigger the Quem to reborn the Cartesia. Now, this turned into one form of disruption into possibly up to 3. How do we now have 3 forms of disruption? I think even up to 4. So we had the Albaz fuse with their field being a form of disruption. We have Mirror Jade non-target monster banish. We have the Cartesia reborning to fuse away with the Mirror Jade into a form of disruption, which then triggers the Quem to reborn the Mirror Jade to be a 4th form of disruption. We're on disruption up to 3 extra ones right now, because we already used the first one. All off of a Sanctifier. Quem reborn Cartesia. And again, we are under Max C. We're going to non-target monster banish away the Engraver on the activation of the Requiem equipping onto Engraver. We now have the Cartesia fusion and the Quem reborn on Mirror Jade being our other 2 forms of disrupt. We're going to activate the Hallowed Azamina, come forth, Risala Go, which will go into our deck searching for an Azamina or Sinful Spoils. We have the Wanted Seeker. When do we fuse up with Cartesia? When is the moment? We could go into a Dragostapelia potentially to negate a monster on the field. We don't play Dragostapelia, so what is our other play? We're going to grab a Diablo Star as the Hallowed Azamina sends the Wanted to now go into a Sylvia. Here's a problem. The 2 other forms of disruption are from one effect. If that one effect gets negated by Sylvia, we then have 0 disruption. And now that one negate is here. So what do? Cartesia is pinned down by Sylvia. We're going to set up the original Sinful with the Diablo Star. Branded Sword's going to add back a banished card. We don't have Mercurier for another form of disruption until we're going to be searching it. So we have... This turn was 1 disruption, and now it's 5. From 1 to 5. 5 forms of disruption. But Sylvia negating Cartesia will then be negated by the Mercurier, which will then be able to non-target monster banish and whatever we summon off of the Cartesia. So we have potentially up to 3 forms of disruption here. 3, 3, 3. We used Mirror Jade banish already. We used the Albaz fuse the opponent's field already. Setting up with Divine Temple, our Snake-Eyed Diablo Star, send the back row Snake-Eyed Diablo Star to negate with Mercurier, which the Sylvia potentially would have wanted to negate. Nope. Sylvia is going to pin down the Cartesia instead. Now, Mercurier is 1 disruption. The Cartesia leads to 2 disruption. So I think that was actually a smart idea of save the Sylvia for Cartesia to disallow the Quem reborning Mirror Jade for all that other nonsense that would happen. What? I thought Sylvia was saved for Cartesia. The 2 disruptions are back on the plate. No way, mate. We have Rinbrum reborning the Albaz, as I'm now getting ready for... There's a Nibiru in the hand. We just drew it. It's activatable. It's our own turn. We can Nibiru on our own freaking turn here. We're going to summon a Star Source, which will on-summon. Get poppin'. Poppin' 2 cards on the field. We're going to Nibiru, tribute off the entire field. Now, of course, the Quem now is not going to be able to reborn the Mirror Jade. We also did infuse with the Mirror Jade. What an interesting duel. That's a big Nibiru. Holy moly. 11,000 defense. Albion is going to be searching for a Brandon White during the end phase. Mirror Jade's going to non-target, wipe the entire opposing field during the end phase. As we add back the Cartesia, and of course we have another Max C. What? from 1 disruption up to 5 disruption under Maxi, drawing into a Nibiru, Nibiruing on your own field into surrendering. How did that happen? Engraver gets searching for the tract. An ant on my arm, mate. As we're going to Ash Blossom negate the tract. If you have Ash and they're making Fiendsmith plays, there's 3 ways to use your Ash. And all 3 in a way could be correct. Well, that ended their turn. You could Ash the tract. You could Ash the effect of Requiem summoning from the deck. Or the third use of Ash is to not use it at all. To save the Ash for the real part of their deck, as the Fiendsmith plays could be baiting you into using the Ash. All right, off the top of the deck, we have Lubellion. Branded opening, discard the Tragedy, summoning from the deck our Alibur, Chainlink blocking with Tragedy. Not that you would want to be negating the Alibur with an Ash Blossom. It also Chainlink blocks an Ogre. Not that that's a good use of the Ogre. Grabbing the Branded High Spirits plus a Quem, let's reveal the Mercurier, get a Rinbrum in the grave, get the Mercurier in grave to now grab in Albion. Now, note that the Alibur is supposed to be searching for Branded Fusion. So a lot of you may be confused thinking, where's Branded Fusion? In Master Duel, you can legally cheat by seeing their field light up. If their field is lighting up in response to the Tragedy, does that mean they have an Ogre in their hand? No, it literally, Ogre would not be activatable. But if their field's lighting up, it could be an Ash, it could be an Imperm, could it be a Veiler? Well, when did we summon the Alibur? Was it the draw phase? Draw phase, so it could not be Veiler. So we know that they could have a Imperm or they could have an Ash. And then you maybe would think that they probably would have chained Maxi to your Branded opening, which they did not. So I would not be thinking it's Maxi. And with the field lighting up on the activation of Tragedy, we're now thinking they're going to save that Ash for Branded Fusion. I'm just going to search for something else instead. Lubellion, grab a Serenir. Albion Shrouded Dragon here, send from the deck a Retribution. Quem on summon, send from the deck the Branded Fusion, and we're still going to be playing into that Ash. All right, but at least we didn't beeline directly for the Branded Fusion, we at least used it later. And there we go, our suspicions are true. The Ash Blossom negates. Now Thrust counters Ash on a Branded Fusion because it allows you to set from your deck the Fusion duplication to copy Branded Fusion during the opponent's turn. Nuts. Gonna grab a kit from the deck here. Reborn the Bestial Lubellion. It's gonna set up the Branded Lost. We have Serenir sending from the deck the Branded Sword, which will banish and grab back the banished Mercurier. Ready with a monster negate. Lubellion mate with the regained. Not a lost. I'm lost. What the heck? Regained? Wait, are we trying to win in one turn? Hold up. Moo Dragon is here. Okay. That wasn't lethal damage. What's going on? Huh? Okay. We have Fusion Duplication, as I said, to counter the Ash Blossom on a Branded Fusion. Sure. Bro, I got nothing. This is a brick. Flameburst is not a Garnet, thankfully, for the deck. Otherwise, the deck would be a lot worse. You'd have to play more than one Flameburst if that were the case. And we just have hand traps. What the heck? I think we identified, you have to know, you have to be a shark. You have to see, or do sharks smell in the water, right? Do they smell the blood? How do they sense the blood? You have to see that there's blood in the water. And you know there's blood in the water when a top tier deck is not making plays. You have to then think in your head, a deck filled to the brim with 1-card combos, wombo combos, how are they making no plays? Well, they must be in a weakened state. They're bleeding. And we have to turn on as much damage as possible right here, right now, finish the duel, beeline to the victory. Begin. Senjin equipping itself into the back row here, activating to summon itself and search for a Golem on resolution. What? If you miss with Zombie Vampire, it's not over? You Saryuja to draw 4? No way. Because people said the deck can no longer bridge its way into Snake Eye. Well, let's see if that's the case. Unfreaking believable. This whole field was from a single Senjin. That's it. One Senjin plus any other body in hand to put into the back row created this field and graveyard of disruption. It gave us 4 negates with Apollo. The Masquerena could double banish with Little Knight, so that's 7 disruption. 6, that is. The 7th disruption being the Promethean Princess Engrave. 7 disruption from a single Senjin. And we also have a Drone Lockbird. If you want to count the Call by the Grave as a form of disruption, this would then be 9 forms of disruption from a single Senjin. Now, we had the Called by and the Droll being additional. 7 from Senjin, and then 2 additional non-engine disrupt. You have Apollo USA, negate. The Requiem, as we're now down to 8 disruption left. You have the Metal Claws sending a back row card to summon itself from the hand, at least attempting to do so, as the Apollo again negates. Does Apollo need to be banned? Yes, what the heck was that? Jesus. So why do they play Millennium? That's it. Why do they still play Millennium is the question here. Because I've read a lot of people, mostly on Reddit, which is the most uninformed place you could read info from on the meta. Everyone was saying, oh yeah, they dropped the Millennium cards because you can't go into Beatrice anymore. Well, as you can see here, we don't need Beatrice. What is this? As we start this off with the Fiendsmith track, let's speed this up. We have 2 special summon negates. We have negate anything. And then we also have Call by the Grave. So I would say about 4 forms of disruption. Unfortunately, Imperm off the top of the deck. The idea of an opponent actually using Imperm on their second turn is actually really unlikely, because if they have Imperm and you made some plays, they probably would have used it on your very first turn. So it feels really bad when they top deck into the Impermanence, especially when you have a Call by the Grave and not a cross out to negate it. Imperm, negate onto the Caesar Mate. We're going to negate with the Full Metal Dragon, so our 4 forms of disruption now drop down to 3. And the Full Metal Red Eyes cannot be targeted by, nor be destroyed by monster effects or spell effects. We're going to Call by the Grave, finger that Engraver. That was definitely a big play. Now we're going to lose. What the heck? We normal summon Ogre, use Original Sinful, then the Caesar negates. That was our only play. We know it's there, and we go into game number 3. Let's see what is good. We're going to start this off with a Wanted Seeker. Ideally, you use this in the draw phase to play around a Drone Lockbird. Our forms of disrupt here are 2 special summon negates, 2 monster negates, a double field banish, so that's already at 6 disruption. We also have Promethean Engrave to pop on special summon, 7, and then we have Ash Blossom, and we have Ogre. 9 disruption versus 4 cards. 9. I would think you don't even have to think. You literally just click yes to whatever they activate, and you should just win automatically. Yeah, of course, negate. Yes, mate, you activate, I negate. Negate. 8 disruptions left. Now, the balance part about Apollo is you should be able to battle over her, right? That's balanced, I think. Negate with the Wave King Caesar mate. So we are at least diversifying our negates. A little bit of Apollo here, a little bit of a Caesar over there. We're going to follow up with an incoming machine. Whatever it does, Ash Blossom negates. Add a monster from the deck. Okay, that's negate. And we're going to activate another one. Add from the deck. Okay, let's go. Double add. It's not a hard once per turn. But you're attempting a special summon, so the Wave King Caesar. Negate. We still have Apollo negate. Apollo negates and doesn't destroy. Wave King Caesar negates and destroys. And I had 9 disruption. You had 4 cards. At least you didn't surrender right away. You activated all your cards that you could. I'm happy to see that always.